what is a musical color? How many possible choices do we have? How many colors are there? Hello. In this video, I'd like to present my new music theory project, the Color Encyclopedia, which has an entry for every possible unique musical color. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how many colors there are. First things first, we should define what exactly is a musical color. A musical color is what I'm calling a unique set of notes. I'll get into what unique means, but exactly how many are there? Turns out, if you don't account for any duplicates, it's this many, which is a lot. But the good news is that there are a lot of duplicates that we can remove from that, and it becomes a lot more manageable. The easiest way to do that is to start by removing sets that are equal to each other because of order. So we could choose A first, and then we could choose E and add that to the set. Or we could have started with E and then choose A. And yes, those have a slightly different sound. They're a little bit inverted from each other versus... But they're the same color in that they contain the same notes. So with every one of these sets of notes or colors, you can choose any note to put in the bass or in the treble or in any order. The choice is yours, but the set remains the same. So in this case, A and E is equal to E and A. So that removes a lot of duplicates already. And in fact, once we do that one step, we can reduce that enormous number of colors to a much more manageable 2 to the 12th, which is 4096. You can think of it like each note being an on and off switch. Actually, we can reduce it even a little bit further because one of those choices means that we have no notes in the set. So it'll only be 4095 so far. 4095 on first glance might seem like a lot, but if you think about how many words you know in your native language, that could be something like 20,000 or 30,000. So 4095, pretty achievable, but we can do even better because a lot of those are duplicates via transposition, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's go back to the simplest possible musical color, which is just one note, in this case A. We could choose to start on A, or we could choose to start anywhere else, like B flat. And some of you might say, well, hey, B flat and A sound different. They must be different colors. For the purposes of this encyclopedia, I'm calling anything with the same structure the same color. And you already sort of intuitively understand this because you might call D flat major and D major different keys, but the same major color. Anything with the same structure can be transposed to any other key, and we can already remove a lot of these duplicates via transposition, because once you've learned one of the colors in one key, all you got to do is learn how to transpose it. But conceptually, you've already understood what this color sounds like. So B flat and A, as a set of just one note, are the same color, because their structure is the same, octave, octave, octave. No matter what order you put it in, you'll never get any more complex. So let's step up the complexity one step and add one note. How many two-note colors do you think there are? Pause the video now and try to guess. So there are 6. At first you might think 11, because once you've chosen one note, there are 11 left before you get back to where you started. But really, the interval gets wider between the two notes that you choose until you hit the tritone, which is an equal division of the octave in 2 parts. And then the interval from where you started gets narrower and narrower again. So after 6, we're starting to repeat ourselves via transposition. Because if you notice, a 5th above A is equal to a 4th above E. And we already defined the 4th just a second ago, before the tritone. So really what this shows is that each one of these intervals is actually a pair of intervals. So the 12 notes you divide by 2, and you get 6 pairs of 2-note colors. The minor second and the major seventh, the major second and the minor seventh, the minor third and the major sixth, the major third and minor sixth, the perfect fourth and perfect fifth, and then the tritone is its own pair. So we have 6 two-note colors, and we have 1 one-note color, which brings the count to 7 so far. So how many 3-note colors are there? How many 4? How many 5? Well, here I started to do this all by hand, and I was starting to get worried that I might make some mistakes, maybe equating 2 colors as the same when they were different, or calling 2 colors different when they were the same, or just modes of something that was already on the list, or inversions, anything like that. So I enlisted some help from ChatGPT to write some code for me to brute force check every single combination of notes to make sure that it was a unique set, and then add them to a list, and then see how long that list was. After a few tries, a few iterations, it did deliver some useful code to me that I ran in a JavaScript playground, and it printed out a long list of every unique set of notes in order from 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 12 notes, as well as a total number for the whole list, which was 351, which was a lot smaller than I expected it to be, and I was very excited. So I took those 351 entries and transferred them over to a spreadsheet, which I'll link to in the description if you're curious to look at that later. And that organizes everything from number of notes in the color, from 1 to 12, and then narrowest to widest in each category. And then I went through that list and I started labeling them and looking for sounds and modes and scales and arpeggios and chords that I was already familiar with. And every single example that I looked for appeared somewhere on the list, albeit sometimes in an unfamiliar form. For example, the major scale comes in as the widest 7-note color in that family. But the major sound that you're familiar with doesn't come in first because, again, narrower intervals appear first. So Locrian actually pops up first. So this is actually B flat major starting on A. Either way, the major scale does appear, but just not in the form that I was familiar with at first. That's the Color Encyclopedia in a nutshell. I hope you found this as fascinating and as useful as I do. Look through that list of colors, try some possibilities out that you've never tried before. Let me know some of your favorites in the comments. If there are ones that you recognize that aren't labeled, let me know in the comments, and I'll add the correct name to it. And send this video to someone who likes music theory. I'd love to hear from as many different points of view about this as possible. If this exists somewhere else, I would love to know. Join my Discord if you're curious to see that JavaScript code that I mentioned earlier. And don't forget to subscribe because I will do a follow-up video where I talk about some of the information that I didn't have time for in this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.